The glass shattered. Not loudly, not dramatically, just enough to make everyone stop. Every head turned. She froze where she stood, a silver tray trembling in her hands. The broken champagne flute lay at her feet, its stem snapped clean, liquid spreading slowly across the polished marble floor. "I'm sorry," she said quickly. "I didn't see." "Of course you didn't." The voice cut through the room like a blade. Low, controlled, unforgiving. Conversations died instantly. Even the music seemed to fade into the background. He was standing at the far end of the hall, one hand resting casually in his pocket, the other holding a glass he hadn't touched. Adrian Kane, the man who owned everything in the room, the man no one dared to disappoint. His gaze moved slowly from the broken glass to her, and then it stayed there. Too long, uncomfortably long. She lowered her eyes, not out of guilt, out of instinct. "I'll clean it," she said, already kneeling. Her movements were careful, precise, almost practiced. But her hands, they weren't shaking anymore. That was the first thing he noticed. Around her, the other staff exchanged looks. One of the waitresses leaned slightly toward another, her voice barely a whisper. "She's new. I can tell." A quiet snicker. Where did they even find her? "I heard she begged for the job." "Looks like it." Another suppressed laugh. "She doesn't even fit here." Adrian didn't react, but he heard every word. He always did. The girl on the floor continued picking up the broken glass, placing each piece carefully onto the tray. Too carefully, as if she had done this before, as if she understood the importance of not making a second mistake. "Leave it." His voice stopped her. She looked up, just for a second, and in that second, something shifted. It was subtle, almost invisible, but it was there. Her eyes, they didn't match the rest of her. Everything about her appearance seemed deliberately plain. Her uniform slightly oversized, her hair pulled back too tightly, her posture smaller than it should have been, as if she was trying to disappear. But her eyes, they were sharp, aware, watching. Not the eyes of someone lost, the eyes of someone choosing to stay hidden. Adrian's gaze narrowed slightly. "Interesting." "I said leave it," he repeated. She hesitated, then nodded once. "Yes, sir." She stood up slowly, placing the tray aside. One of the senior staff quickly stepped in, forcing a polite smile. "We'll handle this, Mr. Kane. She's new, still learning." Adrian didn't look at him. He was still watching her. "What's your name?" The question caught her off guard. A pause, just long enough to be noticed. "Lina," she said. A lie. It came too smoothly, too quickly, but something about it felt rehearsed. "Lina," he repeated, as if testing it. She nodded again. "Yes, sir." Silence stretched between them, uncomfortable for everyone else, controlled for him. Then, finally, he turned away. The room exhaled. Conversation slowly returned. Music picked back up. The moment should have ended there. It didn't, because Adrian didn't forget things like that. Minutes later, he stood on the upper balcony, overlooking the entire hall. From here, everything was visible. Every movement, every mistake, every detail others missed. His assistant stepped beside him, tablet in hand. "The investors are asking for you. Let them wait." His eyes were scanning the room, looking for her. It didn't take long. She had already returned to work, moving quietly between guests, invisible again, or at least trying to be. Who hired her? He asked. His assistant frowned slightly. The maid? Yes. I'll have to check. Do that. The assistant nodded and stepped away, but Adrian didn't move. His attention remained fixed. There was something wrong. Not with her work. Her movements were efficient, measured, better than most of the trained staff. And that was the problem. People like her didn't usually move like that, didn't observe like that, didn't think like that. He watched as a guest deliberately shifted his glass too close to the edge of a table. A test. Petty. Predictable. Before the glass could fall, she caught it. Without looking. Without hesitation. As if she had already anticipated it. The guest blinked in surprise. She simply nodded and moved on. No reaction. No satisfaction. Nothing. Adrian's expression darkened slightly. Definitely not normal. Back downstairs, the whispers hadn't stopped. They should have put her in the kitchen. She'd fit better there. Or not here at all. Lina said nothing. She continued working. Quiet, efficient, unbothered. But when she passed a mirrored wall, she glanced at her reflection. Just for a second. And in that second, her expression changed. The quiet, submissive mask slipped, gone, replaced with something colder, stronger, someone else. Then it was back, like it never left. No one noticed, except him, from above, watching, always watching. The assistant returned. I checked, he said quietly. She wasn't on the original list. Adrian didn't look at him. Meaning? She was added last minute, temporary hire. By who? We're still trying to confirm. A pause. That's not all. Adrian finally turned. What? There's no background file. Silence. For the first time that night, something sparked behind his calm expression. Interest. Real interest. No records? He asked. None that we can find. He looked back down at her, at Lina, at the girl who didn't belong, who moved too precisely, watched too carefully, hid too well, and lied too easily. His voice dropped, quiet, decisive. Bring her to my office after this. The assistant hesitated. Sir, is there a problem? Adrian's gaze didn't leave her. Yes. A brief pause. Then, almost to himself. Or maybe, something colder, something sharper. An opportunity. Later that night, as the event continued and the room filled with laughter that didn't reach anyone's eyes, Adrian Kane made a decision. A simple one, but one that would change everything. He turned slightly, just enough for his assistant to hear. Hire her. The assistant blinked. Sir? Full time. Confusion flickered across his face. Are you sure? She doesn't... I didn't ask for your opinion. Silence. Then a quiet nod. Yes, sir. Below them, Lina continued working, unaware, or pretending to be. And across the room, Adrian watched her, not like an employer, not like a host, but like a man who had just found something he didn't understand yet, and needed to, at any cost. The office door closed with a quiet click. Lina stood just inside, her hands clasped in front of her, her postures small, controlled. Adrian Kane didn't ask her to sit. He never did. He remained behind his desk, flipping through a file that barely existed. A name, a temporary contract, nothing else. No history, no past, no explanation. You weren't on the hiring list, he said calmly. Lina didn't respond immediately. I was told there was an opening, she said. I needed the job. Simple. Clean. Too clean. Adrian looked up. And you expect me to believe that's the full story? Her expression didn't change. Yes, sir. Silence stretched. He studied her again. The same plain uniform, the same lowered gaze, the same careful stillness. But now, up close, it was clearer. Nothing about her was careless. Not the way she stood, not the way she spoke, not even the way she avoided saying too much. Everything was controlled, intentional. You dropped a glass tonight, he said. Yes, sir. You don't seem like someone who makes mistakes. A pause. Everyone makes mistakes. A perfect answer. Too perfect. Adrian leaned back slightly. His eyes didn't leave her. I'm going to give you a permanent position. That got her attention. Just for a second. A flicker. Gone almost instantly. Thank you, sir. No excitement, no relief. Just acceptance. As if she expected it. Or didn't care. You'll report directly to the head staff, but your assignments will come from me. Now she hesitated. A fraction of a second. I understand. Of course you do, he thought, because that's the point. After she left, Adrian didn't move. His assistant stepped forward. You're really hiring her? Yes. She has no background, no references, nothing. I know. That's a risk. Adrian's expression didn't change. That's why she's interesting. The assistant frowned slightly. And what exactly are you planning? Adrian stood slowly, adjusting his cuff. A test. The next morning, it began. Lina arrived before sunrise, earlier than required, earlier than anyone else. She didn't announce herself, didn't ask for instructions, she simply started working. Cleaning, organizing, fixing small details most people ignored. Adrian watched from the upper level, unseen, unnoticed, for now. Give her the east wing, he told the head staff quietly. The woman blinked. That section hasn't been used in months. Exactly. It was the largest part of the house, dust-covered, neglected, difficult. The kind of task designed to break someone, or reveal them. Hours passed. Most new hires would complain, ask for help, slow down. Lina didn't. She worked through it, room by room, step by step. No wasted movement, no visible frustration. At one point, another maid approached her. You're doing too much, she whispered. Slow down or they'll expect this every day. Lina didn't stop. It needs to be done. That's not the point, the woman replied. People like us don't overdo it. It makes others look bad. A brief pause. Then Lina said quietly, I'm not trying to make anyone look bad. Then what are you trying to do? Lina didn't answer. She just kept working. By afternoon, Adrian escalated it. Send her to the kitchen, he said. The chef was known for one thing, impatience. This order needs to go out exactly right, the chef snapped as Lina stepped in. No mistakes. Yes, sir. He watched closely, waiting, for hesitation, for failure, for pressure to crack her composure. It didn't happen. She adopted quickly, learned faster, moved like she had done it before. At one point, the chef deliberately gave her conflicting instructions, a trap. She paused, just briefly, then corrected the process herself, quietly, efficiently. The chef stared at her, suspicious. Adrian's eyes narrowed. Interesting. That evening, he pushed harder. Deliver this personally, he told her, handing her a tray meant for a high-profile guest. The guest was known for being difficult, demanding, unpredictable. Another test. Lina nodded and took the tray. No hesitation. Adrian followed at a distance, watching, always watching. The guest looked her up and down the moment she entered, a smirk forming. Well, they're lowering their standards now. Silence. Lina placed the tray down carefully. Your order, sir. He leaned back. Stay. A command, unnecessary, uncomfortable. Adrian's jaw tightened slightly. Lina didn't react, didn't argue, didn't submit either. She simply stood there, calm, present, untouched. After a moment, the guest lost interest. Leave. She nodded once and walked out. No change in her expression, no sign of discomfort. Nothing. Adrian watched her the entire time, trying to read her, trying to break through whatever she was hiding. Later that night, he made his final move. He called her back into the office. You've done well today, he said. Thank you, sir. I reward efficiency. He opened a drawer and placed an envelope on the desk. Take it. She looked at it, then at him. A pause. You've earned it. Another pause. Then, I don't need it. Silence. Adrian didn't move. Everyone needs money, he said. Not like this. Her voice was calm, respectful, but firm. I'm being paid for my work. That's enough. The room went still. That wasn't normal. That wasn't expected. That didn't fit. Adrian studied her carefully. For the first time, something didn't add up at all. His voice lowered slightly, curious, sharp. Why would someone like you say no? The next few days passed without noise. No mistakes, no complaints, no unnecessary words. Lina worked like she had always belonged there, and that was exactly what felt wrong. Adrian noticed it immediately. People who belonged in that world moved differently. They carried a certain confidence or a certain arrogance. Lina had neither. She kept her head down, her presence quiet, her steps light, but her work perfect, too perfect. He began watching her more closely, not openly, not directly, from reflections, from shadows, from places no one thought to look. Every movement she made was efficient, every task completed before it was even checked. No reminders, no corrections, nothing. At first, the other staff assumed it was luck, then discipline, then something else. She's trying too hard, one of them muttered. Or she's hiding something, another replied. They laughed it off, but the unease stayed because no one could find a flaw. One afternoon, Adrian created another situation, a controlled inconvenience, a small disruption. He had the storage inventory altered, items misplaced, labels switched. Nothing obvious, just enough to confuse someone inexperienced. Lina was assigned to reorganize it, alone. No instructions, no guidance. A test of patience, a test of logic, a test of limits. He watched from the doorway, silent, invisible. At first, she said nothing. She simply stood there, taking it in, observing, not reacting. Then she began, not randomly, not cautiously, but with purpose. She ignored the incorrect labels, ignored the disorder. Instead, she studied the patterns, the spacing, the usage marks, the smallest details most people overlooked. Within minutes, she started correcting everything, not guessing, knowing. Piece by piece, she rebuilt the system, better than it had been before, faster than it should have been possible. Adrian's expression darkened slightly. That wasn't normal. That wasn't training. That was something else. Later that day, the tension grew. A minor issue turned into a visible problem. The house's internal system glitched. The lighting control panel in the main hall stopped responding. Staff gathered around it, confused, frustrated. It's not working. It was fine this morning. Did someone touch it? No one had an answer. The head staff sighed. Call maintenance. It'll take hours, someone replied. Adrian stepped closer, watching, waiting, because this wasn't about the system. This was about her. Lina stood at the edge of the group, silent, observing, not stepping forward, not offering help, avoiding attention, just like always. But her eyes, they weren't confused. They were calculating. Adrian noticed. Of course he did. Is there a problem? He asked calmly. The system's down, sir, the head staff replied. We've called for repair. A pause. Adrian glanced at Lina, just briefly, then back at the panel. Fix it, he said. The staff hesitated. Sir, I didn't ask what you can't do. Silence. No one moved. No one stepped forward. Except her. Slowly, carefully, Lina walked toward the panel. Every eye followed her, some confused, some amused, some already expecting failure. She stopped in front of it, studied it, not like someone guessing, like someone remembering. Her fingers hovered over the controls, then moved, precise, confident. She opened the panel, adjusted a setting, paused, then pressed a sequence, once, twice, 3 times. The lights flickered. A soft hum returned. Then everything stabilized, perfectly. The room went still. No one spoke. No one moved, because no one understood what just happened, except one person, Adrian. His gaze locked onto her, sharp, unblinking. That wasn't luck. That wasn't instinct. That was knowledge. The kind of knowledge that didn't come from cleaning floors. The kind of knowledge that required education, training, access. Things she shouldn't have. Lina stepped back immediately, lowering her head again, returning to her place as if nothing had happened, as if she hadn't just exposed herself. The head staff blinked. How did you... I've seen similar systems before, Lina said quietly. A simple answer. Too simple, too fast. The kind of answer meant to end questions. It didn't. Not for him. The whispers started again. That didn't make sense. She shouldn't know that. Who is she? Lina ignored them, like always, returning to work, invisible again, or trying to be, but it was too late. Adrian had seen enough, more than enough. That night, he stood alone in his office, the city lights reflecting behind him, his thoughts quiet, focused, precise. He replayed everything, the way she moved, the way she observed, the way she solved problems without hesitation, the way she refused money, the way she lied without fear. Nothing aligned. Nothing matched the image she presented, and that meant one thing. She wasn't who she claimed to be, not even close. Adrian's voice broke the silence, low, controlled, almost intrigued. Who are you, really? The shift began quietly, not with orders, not with announcements, but with looks, longer stares, shorter patience. The moment Lina proved she was different, the others felt it, and they didn't like it. It started in small ways. A missing tool, a misplaced tray, instructions given too late or not at all. Nothing obvious, nothing anyone could report, but enough to make her fail, or at least stumble. Lina noticed. Of course she did, but she said nothing. She adjusted, worked around it, fixed problems before they became visible, as if she expected it, as if she had seen worse. In the laundry room, one of the maids folded her arms. She thinks she's better than us. Another shook her head. No, she just wants him to think that. A third laughed softly. Then let's help her. A plan formed. Simple, effective, cruel. That afternoon, Lina was assigned to prepare the main dining hall, a high-profile dinner, important guests, no room for mistakes. Everything had to be perfect, and for a while it was. The table settings aligned, the glassware spotless, the atmosphere controlled. Then it happened. A server approached her. "You forgot the wine list," he said quickly. Lina paused. "I was told the head staff would handle that." "They changed it. Hurry." No hesitation. She moved. Quick. Focused. Unaware she had just stepped into it. Moments later, the guests arrived. Laughter filled the room. Polite. Controlled. Expensive. Adrian stood at the head of the table. Calm. Observing everything. Always. The dinner began smoothly. Courses served on time. Conversations flowing. Then the first crack appeared. A server approached her. "This isn't what I ordered." Silence. The kind that spreads fast. Another guest checked their glass. Then another. Wrong pairings. Wrong labels. Wrong everything. Confusion turned to irritation. Irritation into quiet dissatisfaction. The head staff stepped forward, her smile tight. "There seems to be a small mix-up." Adrian didn't look at her. His eyes moved across the room, searching, finding. Lina, standing near the service entrance, still, watching, understanding. Too late. "Who handled this?" one of the guests asked. The room shifted, pressure rising, eyes turning. The head staff hesitated, just for a second. Then, she did. A finger pointed, direct, unapologetic, at Lina. The room went quiet. All attention moved to her, the ugly maid, the outsider, the easy target. Lina stepped forward slowly, every step measured, every movement controlled. "I was told to bring the wine list," she said, her voice calm, clear, no panic. "That's not what I asked," the guest snapped. Adrian watched, silent, unmoving, waiting. The head staff crossed her arms. "You should have double-checked." A lie. Clean. Sharp. Designed to stick. Lina could have argued, explained, exposed them. She didn't. She said, "I understand." And just like that, she took it. The blame. The weight. All of it. The guests weren't satisfied. One of them leaned back, studying her. "This is unacceptable," another added. "Standards are slipping." A third shook his head. "If this is your staff." Adrian remained still, expression unreadable, watching her, not them. Her reaction, her limits, her breaking point. "Apologize," the head staff whispered harshly. Lina didn't hesitate. "I'm sorry," she said. Simple, direct, real. No excuses, no defense, just acceptance. The kind that should have broken her. It didn't. The tension lingered. Then, slowly, the dinner resumed. But the damage was done, and everyone knew it. Later, in the service corridor, the whispers returned. Louder this time. "She messed up big.
Told you she wasn't that good. Let's see how long she lasts now." Lina walked past them, silent, unaffected, or at least that's what it looked like. From the end of the hallway, Adrian watched. He had seen everything: the setup, the trap, the lie, and her response. She didn't defend herself, didn't expose anyone, didn't react. She simply absorbed it, like it didn't matter, like she had something more important to protect. That was new. That was different. That didn't fit his expectations. Then came the twist. Small, unexpected, but impossible to ignore. One of the younger staff approached Lina quietly, nervous, guilty. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "They told me to switch the labels. I didn't think it would get that bad." Lina looked at her, really looked at her. The girl was shaking, terrified. Not of Lina, of losing her job, of being exposed. A long pause. Then Lina said softly, "It's fine." "No, it's not. You'll get blamed for everything." Another pause. Then, "I already did." The girl's eyes widened. "Then why didn't you say anything?" Lina's answer came without hesitation. "Because you need this job, more than I need to be right." Silence. Heavy. Unexpected. The kind that changes things. Adrian heard it. Every word. From where he stood. Hidden. Watching. Processing. That didn't make sense. None of it did. She had every reason to defend herself. Every reason to expose them. Clear her name. Protect her position. She didn't. Instead, she protected the person who helped sabotage her. Protected the very system working against her. Adrian's expression shifted slightly. Not anger. Not confusion. Something else. Something sharper. Something deeper. His voice dropped, barely audible. Why would she defend people who hurt her?
He wasn't supposed to care. That was the rule. Observe, test, conclude. Nothing more. But something had shifted. It started small, a glance that lingered too long, a pause in his step when she entered a room, a question forming in his mind before he could stop it. Why her? Why does she feel different? He began watching her more closely, not like before, not like a subject, like a puzzle, one he couldn't solve. She moved quietly through the mansion, never asking for attention, never drawing it. But now he saw everything. The way she fixed things before anyone noticed they were broken. The way she memorized everyone's routines. The way she avoided eye contact, not out of fear, but intention. She was hiding, not weakness, something else, something deeper. One afternoon, he saw it, not by accident. This time, he was looking. She thought she was alone in the service hallway. No cameras, no staff, no audience. Her posture changed. The quiet, invisible maid disappeared. In her place, someone precise, focused. She opened a small envelope, counted money, not casually, carefully, like every bill mattered, like every number meant survival. He frowned. That didn't fit his theory. Gold diggers don't count money like that. They demand more, take more, expect more. But she folded the money again, neatly, almost respectfully. Then she pulled out her phone. Old, cracked screen. Not what he expected. Not what someone playing a role would carry. She typed slowly,
paused, erased, typed again. Her fingers trembled slightly. He stepped closer, silent, watching from the corner. He couldn't hear everything, just fragments. I'll send more next week. Please don't worry. I'm okay here. A beat. Silence. Then, don't tell him. His expression hardened. Don't tell who? Who is him? The message sent. She closed her eyes for a second. Just 1 second. But in that second, everything slipped. The strength, the control, the mask. Pain. Raw. Unfiltered. Gone just as fast as it appeared. She straightened, back to the quiet Maid, back to invisible, as if nothing happened. But he saw it. He saw all of it. And it didn't make sense. That night, he couldn't focus. Not on work, not on numbers, not on anything. Her voice echoed in his mind. I'm okay here. That wasn't a lie. That was something else. A reassurance to someone who depended on her. This wasn't greed. This wasn't manipulation. So what was it? He started noticing more. Things he had ignored before. She never ate with the staff. Always later. Alone. Small portions. Like she was saving more than she consumed. She reused things others threw away. Folded old cloths into something useful. Kept broken items. Fixed them herself. Who lives like that by choice? No, not by choice. By necessity. Then came the moment that cracked everything. It was late, past midnight. The mansion was quiet. He wasn't supposed to be awake, but neither was she. He saw a light, faint, from the laundry room. He walked closer, slow, careful. She didn't notice him. She was sitting on the floor, back against the wall, phone in her hand. This time, no words, just listening. A voice on the other end. Faint, weak. A child? He leaned closer. Did you take your medicine? Her voice was softer than he had ever heard. Not the polite tone, not the guarded tone. This was different. This was real. I told you, don't skip it. A pause. She smiled. A real smile. Small. Fragile. I'll send more, okay? Another pause. Longer this time. Her eyes watered, but she didn't let the tears fall. I promise. The call ended. Silence filled the room. Heavy. She stayed there for a moment. Then, she pressed her mouth against her hand, like she was holding something in. Pain. Fear. Desperation. He felt it, from across the room. And for the first time, it hit him. He wasn't watching a gold digger. He wasn't watching a liar. He was watching someone surviving. Someone carrying something alone. Something heavy. Something real. And he had been testing her, pushing her, breaking her. For what? To prove a point that suddenly felt empty. He stepped back, quiet, before she could see him, before she could rebuild her mask. But now, he couldn't unsee it. The kindness, the restraint, the sacrifice. None of it fit his world. None of it fit his rules, which meant his rules were wrong. The next day, he didn't act, didn't confront her, didn't change anything. Not yet. He needed answers. Real ones, not assumptions. So he made a decision. Cold, calculated, but different this time. Not to test her, to understand her. That evening she left the mansion. Simple clothes, head down, same as always. But now he followed, from a distance, unnoticed, through streets far from his world, far from luxury, far from control. She walked quickly, like time mattered, like every second counted. He kept his distance, heart steady, mind racing. Where is she going? Who is she really? She turned into a narrow street. Dim lights, worn buildings. Nothing like the life he knew. She stopped, in front of a small door. Old, faded. She hesitated for just a second. Then she went inside. He followed, quiet, careful. And what he saw made everything stop. Everything. Everything he believed, everything he assumed, everything he thought he knew about her, shattered.
The door creaked open, soft, unprotected, nothing like the world he came from. She stepped inside without turning on the main light, like she knew every inch already, like she belonged there. He waited a second, then followed, quiet, careful. The air inside felt different, heavy, still, not empty, but tired. He looked around. The place was small, bare walls, old furniture, nothing unnecessary. Everything had a purpose. Everything had been used too many times. Then he saw it. A bed, near the window, and someone lying in it. Still. Too still. His chest tightened. She moved quickly, not like the maid he knew. Not slow, not invisible. Urgent, focused. She reached the bed, knelt beside it. Her voice changed instantly. Warm, alive. "Hey, I'm here." A weak voice answered. Soft, barely there. "You're late." Not accusing, just tired. A child. No, not a child. A teenager. Thin, pale, eyes too heavy for their age. Machines weren't there. No hospital, no doctors. Just silence and struggle. "I had extra work," she said gently. A lie. He knew it, but it was a kind one. She brushed the girl's hair back, carefully, like it could break. "Did you eat?" A small shake of the head. She smiled, soft, encouraging. "Then we fix that first." She stood, moved to a corner, prepared something simple. Soup. Nothing more. But the way she made it, it mattered. Every movement precise. Every second counted. He stayed frozen, watching. This wasn't an act. No one performs like this when no one is watching. No one sacrifices like this for nothing. She returned, sat beside the bed, lifted her gently, fed her slowly, patiently, like time didn't exist, like nothing else mattered. "You need your strength," she whispered. The girl tried to smile, failed. "You look tired." She shook her head. "I'm fine." Another lie, another gentle one. He saw through it now. Every word, every pause, every breath, all of it carried weight. All of it carried truth, hidden truth. The girl coughed, weak, painful.
She reacted instantly, supporting her, holding her steady. "It's okay. I've got you." Her voice didn't shake, but her eyes did, just for a second. Then control again. Always control. Always holding everything together. "Did the doctor call?" the girl asked. A pause. Small. Almost invisible. "Not yet." Another lie. He could hear it now. Not deception. Protection. She was protecting her. From fear. From reality. From the truth she carried alone. The girl nodded. Too tired to question. Too used to silence. After a moment, she fell asleep again. Breathing shallow. Uneven. The room went quiet, but not peaceful. Never peaceful. She stayed there, sitting beside the bed, watching, listening, counting each breath, like each one could be the last. Then she broke. Not loudly, not dramatically, silently. Her shoulders dropped. Her hand trembled. She looked down, pulled something from her pocket. Medical papers. Folded. Worn. Opened too many times. He stepped closer, just enough to see. Numbers. Dates. Words he didn't need to read twice. Treatment. Cost. Urgent. Critical. His stomach dropped. This wasn't temporary. This wasn't small. This was a war, and she was fighting it alone. With nothing. No support. No safety. Just work. Just sacrifice. Just time running out. Her fingers tightened around the paper. Then she whispered, barely audible, "I'll figure it out." Not hope, not belief. A promise. One she didn't know how to keep, but she would try anyway, because she had no other choice. He felt something shift inside him. Deep. Uncomfortable. Unfamiliar. Guilt. Real guilt. Not business. Not strategy. Personal. Sharp. He remembered every test, every pressure, every moment he watched her struggle, and did nothing. He thought he was proving something. He thought he understood people, understood women, understood motives. But this destroyed everything. She wasn't playing a role. She wasn't chasing money. She was surviving, fighting for someone who couldn't fight, giving everything while asking for nothing. And he made it harder, for no reason, for pride, for ego, for a belief that now felt empty. She stood slowly, walked to the window, looked out into the dark, alone, completely alone, but still standing, still fighting, still choosing to continue, even when it hurt, even when it broke her. He stepped back, heart heavy, mind clear for the first time. There was no confusion anymore, no mystery, no question left. He knew exactly who she was. Not a maid, not a fraud, not a test. Something far stronger, something he had completely misjudged. And in that moment, one thought hit him harder than anything else. Clear, undeniable. I've been testing the wrong person.
The next morning felt different. Not for the house. For him. Everything looked the same, but nothing felt the same. He saw her again. Same uniform, same quiet steps, same lowered gaze. But now, he couldn't look at her the same way. He knew too much, and it changed everything. She passed by him in the hallway. "Good morning, sir." Polite. Controlled. Distant. He opened his mouth. Stopped. For a second, he didn't know what to say. That had never happened before. Good morning." His voice was softer, almost unfamiliar. She noticed. Just a flicker, a small pause in her step. Then she kept walking.
but something had shifted, and she felt it. He started changing things, slowly, subtly. At first, the workload. Lighter, not obvious, just enough. Tasks reassigned, schedules adjusted. No one questioned it, except her. She noticed everything. The extra pressure, gone. The harsh instructions, softened. The impossible expectations, reduced. It didn't make sense. Not after everything. Not after how he had treated her. She didn't trust it. Couldn't. Not yet. Later that day, something else happened. A tray slipped from another maid's hands. Glasses shattered across the floor. Silence filled the room. Everyone froze, waiting for him. Before, he would have reacted instantly, cold, sharp, unforgiving. But this time, he didn't even look at the maid. He looked at her, the ugly maid, watching her reaction. She stepped forward immediately. "Are you okay?" she asked the other girl. No hesitation, no judgment, just concern. The girl nodded nervously. I'm sorry." She shook her head gently. "It's fine. We'll clean it." We, not you, not alone, together. He saw it again, that instinct, that kindness, even after everything she had been through. He turned away, said nothing, but inside, something tightened, something warm, something dangerous. That night, he couldn't ignore it anymore. He called her to his office. She stood in front of him, same posture, respectful, guarded. "You wanted to see me, sir?" He studied her, not like before, not as a subject, as a person, a real one. "Yes, sit down." She hesitated. That wasn't normal. "I'm fine standing." He nodded, didn't push. Another change. "I reviewed your work." A pause. She waited. "I was too harsh." Silence. Heavy. Unexpected. She blinked. Once. Like she wasn't sure she heard him correctly. "It's my job, sir." Deflection. Safe. He leaned forward slightly. "That doesn't mean it should be unfair." Another pause. Longer this time. She looked at him. Really looked. Trying to understand. Trying to find the catch. "There's no problem," she said quietly. There was. His voice was firm, but not cold. Different. And that difference made her uneasy. Why is he doing this? What changed? What does he want? Her guard went up. Higher. Stronger. "I'll do better," she added, quickly, like she needed to end the conversation. He exhaled slowly. That wasn't what he meant. Not at all. "You already are." The words landed softly, but heavily. She froze. That didn't fit. That wasn't him. That wasn't the man who had watched her struggle without blinking. Something was wrong, or something was hidden, and she didn't like either option. Days passed. His behavior stayed consistent. Too consistent. He stopped setting traps, stopped testing her reactions, stopped pushing her limits. Instead, he watched her differently. Not to judge, to understand, to protect. Once, a staff member tried to blame her for a mistake. He stepped in immediately. That's not her responsibility. The room went silent. Everyone looked at him, then at her, confused. Why defend her? Why now? She felt it, the shift, the attention, the protection. It made things worse, not better, because she didn't know why, and uncertainty was dangerous. One evening, it almost happened, the moment everything could have changed. She was in the garden, alone, finally alone. He found her there, didn't plan it, or maybe he did. "You come here often." She turned, slightly startled. "It's quiet." Simple answer, safe answer. He stepped closer, not too close, just enough. You don't talk much. She looked away. There's nothing to say. That's not true. A pause. Wind moved softly around them. Tension built. Slow. Unspoken. I know about the money. Her breath caught, just for a second, but he saw it. I know you send it somewhere. Silence. Heavy. Her mind raced. What does he know? How much? Why is he saying this? You don't have to explain, he added quickly. I just want to understand. That word again. Understand. Not control. Not test. Understand. It confused her more than anything. Why? She asked, finally. Direct. Honest. His answer sat on the edge of his tongue. Because I was wrong. Because I misjudged you. Because you matter more than you should. Because I can't stop thinking about you. But he didn't say any of it. Not yet. Instead, because you're not who I thought you were. A dangerous truth half spoken, half hidden. She stared at him, searching his face, looking for deception, for strategy, for the trap. I'm exactly who I am, she said quietly. No. His voice softened. You're not. The tension snapped tighter. This was too real, too exposed. She stepped back. Distance. Safety. Sir, if this is about my work, it's not. Too fast. Too intense. She froze. His control slipped for just a moment, but it was enough. He stopped, almost said it, almost told her everything, almost broke the wall completely, but he pulled back. Too soon, too late. The moment shattered. Silence rushed in, cold, unforgiving. She looked at him differently now, not confused, not uncertain, suspicious, deeply suspicious. Something was wrong, and she needed to know what. That night, she searched, not emotionally, carefully, quietly. She spoke to other staff, listened more than she talked, connected pieces, moments, patterns, and then she found it. Not from him, from someone careless, a conversation not meant for her ears. He does this sometimes, tests people, especially women, to prove a point. Her stomach dropped. No, that doesn't make sense. But it did. Everything did. The pressure, the humiliation, the sudden change, the attention, the questions. It wasn't kindness. It wasn't concern. It was all part of something else, something calculated, something cold. She stood still, heart racing, mind clear. He didn't change. This was never about her. This was about him. And in that moment, everything he had started to build collapsed. Because now she knew the truth. He didn't hire her because he believed in her. He didn't protect her because he cared. He hired her as a test.
The room was full. Voices, laughter, crystal glasses clinking under soft golden light. Everything polished, perfect, controlled. Just the way he liked it. A high-profile dinner. Investors, partners, important names, important faces. Power in every corner. And yet, none of it mattered to him, because she was there, standing at the edge of the room, silent, still, different. He felt it immediately. Something had changed, not subtle, not hidden. Gone was the quiet softness. Gone was the careful distance. What remained was clarity, cold, sharp, unshakable. She wasn't avoiding him. She wasn't nervous. She was waiting, watching, and for the first time, he felt it. Unease, real unease. The dinner continued. Conversations flowed. Deals discussed. Numbers exchanged. But his focus stayed on her. Every movement, every glance, every second. Until she stepped forward. Not slowly, not hesitantly. Direct, intentional. And she didn't stop. Not at the staff line. Not at the edge of the room. She walked straight toward him.
The room began to quiet, subtly, naturally, attention shifting, people noticing. A maid approaching him? Unusual, unacceptable. But no one stopped her, not even him. She stood in front of him, close, too close for comfort, too close for control. "Sir," she said, her voice steady, clear, no fear. He set his glass down, slowly. "What is it?" Formal, measured, still trying to hold the frame, but it was already slipping. She held his gaze, didn't look away, not this time. "I'd like to ask you something." The room grew quieter, not silent, but aware, watching, listening. He nodded slightly. "Go ahead." A breath. Then, "Was I part of your test?" The words landed like a crack through glass, sharp, irreversible. A few heads turned, whispers began, soft, curious, confused. He didn't respond, not immediately. For the first time, he had no prepared answer, no strategy, no control. She took that silence as confirmation. Her expression didn't break, but something inside her did. "I heard everything," she continued, still calm, still composed. But now there was weight behind every word. About how you hire people, about how you study them, push them, judge them. Each word tighter than the last, each one pulling the truth into the open. This whole time, a pause, small but heavy. "You weren't seeing me, you were measuring me." The room had gone completely silent now. No more whispers, no more movement, just tension, thick, unavoidable. He finally spoke, low, controlled. It wasn't like that. A weak defense, even he knew it. Her eyes didn't move. Then what was it? Direct, no escape. He exhaled slowly. This was it. No more distance, no more hiding. "I believed something," he said, carefully. "Truth, but incomplete. I thought people had patterns. I thought I could predict them. And yes," a pause, longer this time, "I tested those patterns." Murmurs spread again. Discomfort, judgment, but he didn't look at them, only her. "You included me in that," she said. Not a question, a fact. He nodded, once. That was enough. Something inside her shifted again, final, decisive. "And everything you did," her voice dropped slightly, not weaker, deeper. "Every time you made things harder, every time you watched and said nothing, that was part of it too?" His chest tightened. Yes. The word barely left his mouth, but it was enough, more than enough. The truth was out, fully, completely. No way to take it back, no way to soften it. The room felt smaller now, heavier. Everyone watching, everyone judging, but none of it compared to her gaze. That was the only thing that mattered. "I see," she said. Quiet, too quiet. And that scared him more than anger ever could. "I thought," she continued slowly, "maybe—" She stopped, shook her head slightly. No, she wasn't going to say it, wasn't going to give him that. He stepped forward, instinct, urgency. "It changed," he said, quickly, too quickly. "I was wrong. I see that now. I see you." The words came out fast, unfiltered, real, but late, too late. Her expression didn't move. "Now you see me?" A faint, bitter edge. "After everything?" He swallowed. "Yes. Honest, painfully honest. I didn't understand before, but I do now." Silence stretched, tension rising again. "I know about your sister," he added, soft, careful. "I know what you're doing for her." That hit, deep. Her composure crocked for the first time, just slightly, just enough. "You followed me," she said, not surprised, not shocked, just tired. He didn't deny it. Yes, another truth, another weight added. Her eyes closed for a second, then opened again, clear, stronger than before. "So everything about me, all of it, you discovered it like a problem to solve?" "No," he said immediately, but the damage was done. because that's exactly how it started, and she knew it. "You were never a person to me," she said, her voice steady again. "I was just data, a test case, a theory, something to prove your beliefs." He stepped closer again, desperate now. That's not true anymore. But it was. That stopped him completely, because he couldn't argue with it. He couldn't rewrite it. He couldn't erase it. And she wasn't finished. "You don't get to decide when I become real," she said, each word precise, controlled. "You don't get to hurt me and then understand me later." The room held its breath. No one moved, no one spoke. This wasn't just a confrontation anymore. It was exposure, truth, raw, unfiltered. He felt it all. The guilt, the regret, the realization. And for the first time in his life, he didn't try to win. He didn't try to control the outcome. "I'm sorry," he said. Simple, honest, not enough, but real. "I was wrong. I misjudged you. I misjudged everything." His voice lowered, softer. "I never should have made you part of it." Silence followed, heavy, final. He looked at her, not with anger, not with hate. Something worse, disappointment, deep, unrecoverable. Then she took a step back, distance, separation, clarity. "This was never mine to be part of," she said, quiet, but it carried through the entire room, through every person, through him, completely. Another step back. "I came here to work, to survive, not to be studied, not to be broken." She turned just slightly, then paused. One last moment, one last sentence, and it ended everything. "I was never part of your experiment." And then she walked away, and this time he didn't follow. The silence she left behind didn't fade. It stayed. In the room, in the walls, inside him. For the first time in his life, power felt useless, money felt empty, control meant nothing, because none of it could bring her back. Days passed, but the mansion felt different. Colder, louder in its silence. Her absence wasn't just noticed, it was felt. In every hallway, every room she used to walk through quietly, every space she filled without anyone realizing, until now. He stopped working the way he used to. Meetings canceled, calls ignored, numbers untouched, because none of it mattered anymore. Not after the truth, not after her. But regret alone wasn't enough. He knew that. Regret changes nothing. Action does. So he started there. Not with her, with what she was fighting for. He went back to that place. The small apartment, the dim hallway, the fragile door. This time, he didn't hide. He knocked. Soft. Careful. A moment passed. Then the door opened. The girl stood there, weaker than before, but standing. She looked up at him, confused, cautious. "Who are you?" A simple question, one he didn't deserve to answer easily. "I'm someone who wants to help. Honest, incomplete, but enough." She hesitated, then stepped aside, let him in. The room looked the same, but now it felt heavier, because he understood it, fully. He looked at her again. "You need treatment." Not a question, a fact. She nodded slowly. "We can't afford it." Another fact. He stepped closer. "You can." She frowned, didn't understand. Not yet. He placed a folder on the table. Medical arrangements, appointments, specialists, paid, handled. Everything. Already done. Her hands trembled slightly as she opened it, eyes scanning, trying to process. "This isn't possible," she whispered. "It is now." His voice was calm, certain, no hesitation. "Why?" she asked. The question he had been waiting for. The one that mattered. He didn't look away. Because she never asked me to. Silence. She never told me, he continued. She carried everything alone. His voice lowered, and I made it harder. The truth sat between them, unavoidable, real. I'm not here to fix what I did, he said. I can't, but I can make sure she doesn't lose you because of it. Tears filled her eyes. This time, they didn't stay hidden. Will she know? The girl asked softly. A pause. Then, yes. Because he wasn't hiding anymore. Not from her. Not from himself. Not from the truth. The next step was harder. Much harder. Because this time, it wasn't about action. It was about facing her. He found her where she had always been strongest. Working. Not in the mansion. Somewhere smaller. Quieter. A place that didn't belong to him. A place where she chose to be. She saw him the moment he walked in. Her expression didn't change, but her body did. Tension. Distance. A wall rebuilt, stronger than before. You shouldn't be here, she said. No greeting. No softness. Just truth. I know. He didn't move closer. Didn't invade her space. Not this time. I won't stay long. She waited. Silent. Careful. Watching. I went to see her, he said. That got her attention. A flicker. Fast. Gone. But he saw it. You shouldn't have done that. Her voice tightened. Protective. Immediate. I didn't go to interfere, he said. I went to help. A beat. Then he placed the same folder in front of her. She didn't touch it. Not yet. What is this? Everything she needs. Simple. Direct. She looked at it. Then at him. Suspicion rising again. What's the condition? There it was. The line he had created. The damage he had earned. No condition. She didn't believe him. Couldn't. Not after everything. I don't want anything from you, he added. Not forgiveness. Not understanding. Nothing. A pause. I just want her to live. Silence stretched between them. Tight. Fragile. Then, slowly, she reached for the folder. Opened it. Read. Every page. Every detail. Every impossible solution now made real. Her hands trembled. Not from weakness. From impact. From everything she had been carrying. Finally shifting. This is too much, she whispered. No, he said quietly. It's not enough. Her eyes lifted. Met his. For the first time since that night, there was no anger. Just confusion. And something softer. Something dangerous. Why are you doing this? She asked. He took a breath. This was it. No more distance. No more half-truths. Because I was wrong about you. A step forward. Slow. Careful. Because you showed me something I didn't believe existed. Another step. Still giving her space. Because you kept your dignity when I tried to take it. His voice lowered. Real. Unfiltered. And because I can't walk away from that. Silence. Deep. Heavy. Then, I don't need your money, she said. Her voice steady again. I know. I don't need your help. I know. A pause. Longer this time. But she does. That landed. Not as pressure, as truth. Pure. Unavoidable. Her eyes closed for a moment, then opened again. Different now. Not guarded, not open. Something in between. You hurt me, she said quietly. I know. You don't get to fix that. I know. No defense. No argument. Just acceptance. That mattered. more than anything else. "I'm not trying to fix it," he said. "I'm trying to be better than the man who caused it." A long silence followed. Then, "What happens now?" she asked. He looked at her, not as a maid, not as a test, as her, just her. "That's your choice. Freedom, given, not taken, not controlled." For the first time, she had it completely. She looked down at the folder again, then back at him. Then something shifted, small, but real. The wall didn't fall, but it cracked, and sometimes that's enough. Weeks passed. Treatment began. Her sister improved, slowly but surely. Hope replaced fear. Strength replaced desperation. And her, she changed too. Not into someone new, into someone free. No longer invisible, no longer reduced, no longer defined by survival alone. And him, he didn't force his way back in, didn't demand space in her life. He earned it, quietly, patiently, step by step, until one day she stood in front of him again, not as an employee, not as a subject, as an equal. "You kept your word," she said. He nodded. "So did you." A small pause. Then, "Why did you really come back that day?" she asked. One last question, one last truth. He didn't hesitate. "Because I love you." Silence, but not heavy this time, not painful. Soft, open, real. She looked at him, long, careful, searching. Then, for the first time, she smiled. Not small, not fragile, free. And in that moment, everything reversed. He wasn't above her. She wasn't beneath him. There was no power, no illusion. Just two people who found something real where neither of them expected it. And this time, it wasn't built on control. It was built on choice, on respect, on truth, on love. And nothing would take that away again.
Thank you all for watching till the end. I hope you enjoyed the story. Comment which part was your best moment. Like, share with your besties, and subscribe for more interesting videos. See you in our next video.